Go.
Good morning. Before we get started today, I want you to visualize a picture you've seen from the California gold rush. I want you to see a man and his wheelbarrow looking for gold. Now I want you to take that same man doing that same thing and put him here in Central Florida 50 years later. This time that man isn't looking for gold. This time he's mining for phosphate. My name is Amalia Welch and I'm an employee of Mosaic Fertilizer. We are one of the world's largest producers of fertilizer. We actually mine phosphate from the ground, put it through a complex chemical process, and turn it into fertilizer to be distributed worldwide. Today, we're going to cover 3 distinct times in the history of phosphate mining in Central Florida. We're going to start with that man and his pickaxe and the early mining techniques, move to the introduction of the dragline, and finish up with the companies that mine today and the processes they use. Information from the Florida Institute for Phosphate Research shows that phosphate was actually discovered in Central Florida in 1883. It was discovered near Hawthorne in Alachua County. The early mining was done using a pickaxe, shovel, and wheelbarrow. The actual phosphate rock, which is located about 15 to 50 feet below the Earth's surface in what we call the matrix, made it very difficult for those early miners to collect vast amounts of phosphate. And because of that, it took about 3 to 4 years to mine 15 acres. The back-breaking labor of mining with pickaxes and shovels was eliminated with the introduction of the dragline, pictured here. According to GreatMining.com, a dragline is a type of excavating equipment which casts a rope-hung bucket a considerable distance, collects the dug material by pulling the bucket toward itself on the ground with a second rope, elevates the bucket, and dumps the material on a soil bank in a hopper or on a pile. Today's phosphate mining using the dragline digs up the material, dumps it into a mine cut where soil has already been removed, uses high-powered water to form into a slurry, and then pumps it back to the beneficiation plant. At the beneficiation or processing plant, it goes through a similar but more complex washing technique than it did in the old days to separate the phosphate rock from the clay and sand that comes in with it. The phosphate is then trucked to chemical plants where it's turned into fertilizer. The effectiveness of a dragline actually is about they can mine 15 acres in a month, which is a vast improvement over 15 acres in 3 to 4 years using that pickaxe and shovel. Modern day companies, because of the effectiveness of a dragline, choose the dragline to mine. There are 2 companies in Central Florida currently that mine: Mosaic Fertilizer and CF Industries. Mosaic Fertilizer currently has 5 operating sites in Central Florida. These sites span Hardee, Polk, Hillsborough, and Manatee counties. CF Industries currently has a site in Hardee County. The main difference between early mining and today's mining is the process of land reclamation. Here we have 2 pictures of wetlands. As you can see, they're both pretty similar. Now my question for you is, can you tell which one has been mined and reclaimed and which one is a natural wetland formation? I didn't think you could. This top picture actually shows an area that has been mined and reclaimed, and this picture is the natural wetland found in the same area. Reclamation, according to phosphateflorida.com, puts the land back to the way it was prior to mining, and sometimes better than before. Native plants and animals are put back into the area and thrive. And according to Florida statute, since 1975, for every acre mined, an acre has to be reclaimed. Reclaimed property has been used for parks, housing, preserves, made into lakes for fishing, hunting, and many other functions. As you can see, the mining of phosphate in Florida has evolved greatly throughout the years, from starting out with a pickaxe and a shovel to moving through the introduction of the dragline and ending up with the practices used today. The main difference being that of reclamation. I want you to leave you with one parting thought today. The next time you drive by an open field in Florida, green grass growing, flowers blooming, and new young trees, I want you to wonder if that land has been mined, because with the process of land reclamation, you probably wouldn't be able to tell.